Whether you're a teen or 30-something, we see too much sucker shit going on in the world. Not enough of us are sharing the script to help us all do better for ourselves. Enjoy this unfiltered, no bullshit game about how to survive and thrive in your Black awesomeness. Come through, listen, and think with the Queen.
Hello.
All right, sis, I'm here.
Yay. How are you? Hold on, let me check my volume level. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay. Thank you so much for just sharing this time with me. I really do appreciate it.
No, my pleasure. I appreciate you for even offering, and I really, really, really appreciate your patience. Um, that means the world to me. A lot of stuff is going down in family, but I still like to maintain professionalism. I feel like I owed you a message, but yeah.
Hey, I
Her-
appreciated that. So, that's why I was like, I totally understand because these things happen, We
Yeah,
both
man.
queens out here, trying to build, build legacies and live, so I understand.
So yeah, I really, really super duper appreciate that. So I had to start with that because I felt bad. I felt bad because I don't rock like that.
But I know that's why it was no problem, So again, I'm so happy that, we could connect like this and that we discovered each other. I gotta say shout out Derek Grace because he kind of like he was what brought us together. So
100.
yeah, definitely gotta shout him out. So I wanted to sit down with you because, as we briefly discussed, I, wanted to create this podcast to reach out to our youth as well as anybody that needs to hear it. To give game on how to really manage this life and try to be achieve our dreams and be the best that we can be. So when I found out about your financial services and everything, I definitely wanted to pick your brain a little bit. So let's start out with just a brief history about, your little bit of background about your youth, what motivated you to become an entrepreneur.
Absolutely, sis. So as far as back as I can recall, my brother even reminded me that of this weekend that he remembers me talking about having businesses at 9, and not knowing anything to do with it, not necessarily having the resources or the people who could guide and direct me. But I've always wanted to start businesses, and mostly always in the scheme of helping people. So the very first business that I started or wanted to start as a kid was tutoring, right? I always used to want to help. I did well in school, was excellent, excelled so much in that. And so I did tutoring. I learned how to do tutoring. So I would have friends and classmates that would pay me $5 and I would sit with them and teach them how to do their homework, teach them whatever we learned in class, things of that nature. So it started with that. And then
That's
it kind
wonderful.
of, yeah, it started there. And then it progressed. And then I wanted to have, I had an idea for a business. Started the process still, not knowing what to do. This was before the internet was in my hand, in my pocket. So I still was lost. I just knew how to ask certain questions, but not knowing where to apply that because I wanted to start a nonprofit to help battered women leave their spouses and get on their feet. So that was at 14. And again, challenges, didn't know what the heck to do, didn't know how to collect resources. Then I hit 18, 17, the whole, go to college, get your degree, get a great job. All this stuff started, infiltrating, if you would. And I got away from it, so I started working in the public sector at 21. or 22. I can't remember how old I was. And I started doing that. I guess I would have to have been 23. I was 23 when I started working for the LA Superior Court out here in Cali.
Mhm.
And so that took me in the whirlwind of a direction. It was a beautiful, simply amazing, excellent life experience. I would never downplay it. You know, as everything else goes, you always have a challenge somewhere. There's always some beef, you know, no matter what job you do or where you are, what business you have. You know, you gain a little bit more control having your own business, but you still have, you're in the business of people. No matter
Yep.
what you're doing, it takes people. And so that's always a wild card factor. So, you know, so that's that. So I worked with them. I worked in every litigation. My last litigation before I resigned to go full time in my business was in the child support litigation, um, which was rewarding and difficult all at the same time. I learned so much. I got insight into people's persona, understanding that they didn't understand finances, understanding that they didn't understand how to really be a well person as a whole. XYZ, fill in the blank, right? So that was like literally the catapult to that. Um, and then beforehand, I had an experience where they actually had layoffs in the court. So I was laid off at the court for about a year and a half. Always did well with my money, always managed my money well, wasn't living beyond my means, none of that. Saved well, you know, had kids young, got married young, things like that. So I was on it, you know, always had my money intact. But being laid off for a year and 4 months, it becomes a thing where you like, well, I could pay this car note, but my rent is due in 2.5 weeks. So I'm not gonna pay this car note. I'll pay my rent.
Mhm.
Right. And so it just got to be like that. And so my credit tanked, wasn't caring. You know, we ate, we had shelter. So I wasn't tripping. We still were maintaining and doing pretty decently. God definitely came through on a multitude of occasions, by way of sending people who loved us and believed in us and, so, you know, helped us as best they could. You know, so we never went hungry. We were never cold. So it was an amazing, humbling, and enriching experience,
Yeah,
nevertheless.
let's just take a moment and say blessings for that, you know, because it's hard out here when you don't have that support system and you don't have somebody to have your back and you searching, you know.
Yep.
So
Yep.
blessings. I'm glad to hear that.
Listen, yes, it was amazing, simply amazing. And so then, oddly enough, the court called me back and asked me to come back and work for them part time. So I took it part time. And then from that point forward, hit the ground pay, you know, hit the pavement running, really just stack money back up, caught back up on bills and expenses, things like that. Restored my credit. You know, my credit went from like a 720 to a 495. It was crazy.
Mm.
Not paying those car notes, y'all, is a big deal. Having a late payment, period, on your credit for any sort is a big deal. So yeah, credit tanked 495. So it took me about 8 months to a year to recoup, get back on our feet where we were solid. Um, then they extended an offer for me to work full time. So I was able to go back full time and really got it going. So I restored my credit, got my savings back up. And then I just dove into understanding business because I knew that the court wasn't it for me. I knew it wasn't when I started. And
Mhm.
um, I knew it wasn't. It was the great idea, you know, and it was, in our community for Black people, it's like get that government job, get your benefits, get your retirement, XYZ,
Yep.
things of that nature. Like that's the goal. It's like that's the goal. You get your pension, you set for life, type of situation. But I've always wanted more. I wanted to be more impactful. That work is impactful, but um not so much as my passion, right? My definition of impactful.
And it's
Um,
held back. That impact is held back based on what they want, what the system
exactly.
wants, you
Ex-
know, and so
Exactly. Yep. And so, that's a bit of like what I faced. And it kept getting real for me the more experiences I started having with people. And just understanding the mindset, understanding the lack of education, understanding just different means, different routes and means of things that reveal itself. That I'm like, man, these people are not whole. They don't get it. I'm like, they're broken homes, coming from a broken home, and it just filled so many things. It showed me that there was a need for so much, and so just on a whim. So for me learning how to, master my credit, teach people how to have their budgets on point, teaching them how to maximize and take advantage of everything that the job had to offer, how to protect their income, how to improve or increase their taxation avoidance, all that stuff. It was just a thing that I threw myself into. And a lot of it was trial and error when it came to like strategy and stuff like that. But I did it so effortlessly. And my coworkers were like, you giving up your lunch, or you coming in 30 minutes extra early to walk me through a budget or to help me look at and learn how to read my credit report, or you giving advice, teaching us power of attorneys, where our, what our pension plans and with this and that and so forth and so on, and how to go be fishermen. I'm like, listen, all this information is out there. You got to start by asking questions. So just teaching people how to be resourceful on their own, empowering people to take control of the things they have control over instead of allowing themselves to be reactive and acted upon. And so they were like, this needs to be your business. I was so anti, you have no idea, sis. I was like, listen, I'm about to go make some products. That's what I was going to do because I make natural body products as well. I was like, I'm about to quit. I'm about to go build my product business, so forth and so on. Y'all know what y'all talking about. Then fast forward. So, I was just like, nah, I'm good. And they were like, no, this is what you need to be doing. And I said, okay, this is what I need to be doing. All right, we gonna see. Man, fast forward, I get into a tax prep course, master that, learn how to do all that, understanding how and what I did, the calculations that we need to look into. Then from there, as a business owner, because I'm gonna be 1 year old in business on August 4th. Whoop whoop, right? So I'm super duper duper excited about that. But just taking the steps necessary to educate myself and invest in myself and, learning different things, taking courses, getting coaches. I have an excellent coach. She is fire, super fire, and totally encourages me and is allowing me to see things in myself I couldn't see before. So not only am I helping with personal finance and understanding how to leverage it, how it translates to your business, the mindset behind it, I'm also now offering services as a business strategist. So I'm just fired up. Like, this year has brought so much amazing interaction. It's brought so much just gifts and just beauty is all I can say. Like, it's come with its challenges, a bunch of tears, a bunch of sleepless nights, worn out knees from prayer, like jacked up, right? But beautiful and rewarding all the same. And I realized that this call is for me, and I know I'm a trailblazer in this arena. So naturally, it's going to come with some adversity, and my life is not my own. I really believe that. So my life experience, even being able to share that I lost my job, wasn't paying bills, credit got tanked, it helped me understand too and have even more compassion, because I used to have a mindset sometimes about people like, oh, you down because you want to be, right? Because I've always had this I'm going to get it attitude, but it's not true. Like, you can go and get it, but you can also your life can be in a position because of circumstances beyond your own control. And it was true of me. So that experience not only humbled me, but it blessed me with a level of compassion that I don't think I would have been able to really express to people and connect with people had I not had the experience. So I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for my life. I'm grateful for the difficulties. I'm grateful for the super wins, for the growth, for the challenges. I'm just grateful, and staying in a space of gratitude is the best mindset.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now later on we'll circle back to child support stuff separately from this. But so for our youngins out there,
Mm-hmm.
um, what are a few foundational tips that you would tell them to start doing now to be financially ahead of the curve once they're either off to college, or if they, even if they don't go to college, if they're going to enter the workforce and they're going to really like be out there on their own, no support system, nothing to fall back on. What are some tips that you think they need to know?
Delayed gratification. That's a huge thing for me when it comes to youth. Even when it comes to my children, we have the same conversation all the time. Understanding what that is. And delayed gratification, it doesn't mean no, it means not right now. And I know sometimes when we think about not being able to do something in the moment that we really want to do it, that it's gone forever, but that's not true. Right. So when you come upon something and you decide you want to enter into the workforce and you want to start supporting yourself and you want to either, do that or start a business or whatever the case may be, delayed gratification for me is always step one. And I always feel like no matter what you do, money really has nothing to do with your personhood. It's a tool. And if you have your mindset set and it's sharp, any tool given to you, you're going to use properly. Be it your time, be it your body, be it anything. If your mindset is solid, everything you do in combination is going to be excellent. So get your mind right. I know it's cool and you're going to hear a lot about, oh, you young, tear it up, turn up, do what you want, get everything you need, do that, so forth and so on. I disagree with that. You're a youth far less time than you are an adult. If you start at 16, 17 years old, you get a job, create some kind of structure for yourself. Don't get paid and spend every single dollar. Don't get paid and feel like you got to give it away. Have a plan for your money, right? So start with the basics. If you're on your own, you have to make sure that you're covering your rent. You got to make sure that you have lights and gas and food. Those are the bare minimums. Make sure you're taking care of all of those necessities first, and then learn how to set a little money aside, learn how to treat yourself occasionally. But I really think that the highest value and the greatest thing I can teach and share with the youth is about delayed gratification, because there's so many pretty glitz and glammy things out there. There's so much pressure from the world, so much pressure from social media saying you got to dress this way, you got to be on, you got to this, you got to that. It's not true, because guess what? It's going to be there. I'd much rather you hustle hard from 16 to 21 or 16 to 22, whatever, or 16 to 26, whatever it takes for you to have from 26 to 75, right? Life expectancy is 78 years old on the average. That's how long people are living. So if you can't take 10 years to grind to have 30 some years of excellence, you're going to have a hard time. So the sooner you start with getting your affairs in order and making sure your mindset is sharp, the longer you're going to have an opportunity to have the life you desire.
Okay, okay. Now, my next question to you was going to be about the biggest mistake you see people making and the solution. So, is it different than what you just said as far as delayed gratification? Or
It's in addition to delayed gratification. The thing I would add to that is having a plan. Having a vision, even if it's not exactly a plan, right? Because a plan sounds tedious. But the truth is that a map is no good to you if you don't have a destination first. So I like to work backwards, right? Think about the destination. Think about how old you would like to be when you have hit the pinnacle of your life, if you would. If you've entered a space of true freedom, where you've come into your own personhood, you've come into managing your money properly, investing, a business owner, the spouse of your dreams, whatever. What does that life look like for you? And literally envision that. That's your destination. because having your destination in place, which is what they call the why, is going to be the way that you determine every single thought, decision, and action for your life. As long as you keep that in the forefront of your mind. So the biggest mistake is not thinking long term. And if you're not thinking about life in the long term, your short term is not going to benefit you. So think of the big picture. Think of the ultimate goal that you have in life, or that you want for people to say about you when someone mentions your name, and live that life now.
That's so powerful. That is so powerful. I hope everybody that hears this, I hope it hits you different. Like, I really hope that it hits you deep. And like, as soon as this ends, you go and take action to make these changes, and take it one day at a time. As long as you're moving forward, you're moving. That's what's key. Because when you're standing still, you're dead pretty much, right? So, all right. Well, I want everybody to be able to find you. So if they need a coach and they need somebody that's going to help them along the way, they can choose you and check you out. So tell them where they can find you.
Absolutely. You guys can find me on Instagram at freely_Yoli as my personal page. I do a mix of everything. You get to see my life. You get to see what I value. You get to understand what my mission is and my why. And then you can follow my business page, freely_financial, as well on Instagram, and Freely Financial on Facebook. I have tons and tons and tons of content on that business page that cover the fourfold of my business. I highly believe in the 4 pillars of strong foundation for legacy building. And that's definitely mindset, which I touched on, mastering your money, understanding how to delegate your dollars and leverage your credit. And I love to talk about this using other people's money. That's my moniker for understanding how to build and leverage your credit, and then putting everything in your mama name. That's my moniker for learning how to master your tax strategy so that you actually are able to hold on to and retain the wealth that you are building and accumulating when it comes to your revenue. I'm a strong proponent for legacy. I really believe that legacy is what you define it to be, but your legacy speaks for you when you are no longer here in the physical. Right. So for me, it's grand for me to feel like I'm on a mission myself to building up my business and just my conglomerate as a whole, so that I can leave a property and $2 million to both of my sons. I've invested in educating myself and learning how to do that. I take action. You give me something I know that I can apply, you got to stay teachable. I go in for it. I immediately apply the things that I learn. I immediately begin to process how I can master and shift my mindset yet again. Right? And I really love for people to grow. I want to see people win. I want people to be able to realize this very small seated idea that they have. And I want them to see and know that it is possible and it is tangible, but it's just going to take a little bit of work. And there's no shame in being where you are and where you started, because your life is not your own anyway. So what you're experiencing is not always just for you, but it's for your growth and for the growth of others that you are able to encounter in this life. Right? And so that is all I want. I want for all of us to win. I want for all of us to have a legacy and a plan to get there. And I want for us to not be fearful of anything that our minds can imagine, because if you can imagine it, you can hold it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate all that wisdom, all those gems. I'm about to see where I can apply them myself. So I really thank you for that. Okay.
That's enough game for now. Follow Queen Doja on Facebook and Instagram at The Script Podcast, online at thescriptpodcast.com, and YouTube at bit.ly/The Script Podcast. Stay awesome, blessed, and always on script.